What is up, my friends? Your weekend has officially started, and you are very welcome along to Friday evening's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. We will be live tonight at 8:45, so I hope you can join us for our interactive late night agenda, where we'll be asking you your opinions on all the latest Liverpool news. Until then, I'm going to take you through the varying reports around the summer transfer window. Some of them positive and uplifting, other ones, well, making me feel like maybe we're going to have the same old story in this transfer window. Between us, we'll figure it out. We do want to know your thoughts, of course, ladies and gents, so let me know in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Right, I'm going to start off with, let's say, the bad news, or at least the same old kind of story as we approach the transfer window. And this one coming from Andy Hunter of The Guardian. Andy writes, Liverpool are expected to target a new centre-forward and a young left-back this summer. There you go. No problem with that so far, right? We're all on the same page. Here comes the big but. But, just like last summer, Arne Slot does not believe many improvements are needed for a squad that is on the verge of winning the Premier League title by some distance. Now, look, that's one man's opinion, a journalist's opinion, and I hope Andy is very, very wrong. Not, of course, because I have anything against Andy Hunter, but because that would be a very frustrating transfer window, and I don't believe that Arne Slot is foolish enough to know that this squad doesn't need some serious attention. Look, there's no denying we're winning the Premier League, and we're going to win it by quite a distance, but again, it would be naive to think that those clubs around us aren't going to strengthen and be much improved next season. So Arne Slot can't just use this season to go, well, okay, everything's great, we don't need too much. We need to go deeper in the Champions League. We need to, of course, go one step further and pick up a domestic cup. And also, we want to really retain that Premier League title. So I hope Andy Hunter is wrong here, but there are journalists who are a little bit more upbeat about the situation. So let's move on to them. Next up, we come to, well, a post here from a friend at Anfield Sector that said the transfer window is going to come in two phases. Now, this seems very reasonable and realistic to me. They say phase one, the priority signings, left back and striker. No argument there whatsoever. I think if you polled or asked most Liverpool fans, they would be the two main areas of concern. So if we get the left back and the striker sorted out early doors, the second part, I think, becomes a bit more common sense. Phase two, the replacement signings, like the likes of Diaz, Elliott, Endo, Trent, Gomez, Kwanzaa, etc., that will come when we're talking about a one in, one out maybe type of situation. Now, I would add, we need to look at the central midfield area, regardless of what happens, and again, the centre-back situation, but maybe this one in, one out scenario will address those concerns. So I'd have no issues if left back and striker was done quickly, and in phase one, and then in phase two, we bring in whoever we move out. So if we bring in a centre-back, we've lost one. If we move on a right-back, we bring one in. That kind of scenario. So let me know what you guys think on that one. It's certainly a lot more palatable than the not needing major surgery of the squad. Now, Matheus Cunha, a name that many football fans around clubs like Liverpool or Arsenal who are looking for a striker have been wondering, are the clubs going to show any interest? Will anybody trigger that release clause? This is what TBR Football have said. Arsenal and Liverpool have both grown concerned over Matheus Cunha's attitude and are wary of meeting Wolves' £63 million asking price. I think that again is common sense. I think Cunha is a very good player, but it would be remiss of me or any other fan to look back and not think that there have been times this season where he's let that frustration get the better of him, got himself sent off on a couple of occasions. And if you're paying £63 million for a player, well, you're not going to want them missing 6-7 games a season with suspension. So I can understand it. I don't know if clubs would use this maybe as a negotiating standpoint to try and knock down the price. Clubs are well within their rights to do that, as would Wolves be within their rights to say, no, that's the price. But let me know what you think on this one. Do you agree around those concerns about Cunha and his behaviour? Or do you think maybe this is a negotiating tactic? Now, moving on to number 9. So Arne Slot's been asked basically what he needs and wants from number 9. And he said, simple one is goals. He needs to produce goals. But apart from that, in modern football, number 9s have to work hard to be part of an intense pressing team. All Champions League semi-finalists work their asses off. And he's not wrong. But that's one thing we could never really label at Darwin, was a lack of work rate or enthusiasm. It's always been the finishing of the end product that's been questionable for Darwin. But again, maybe gives us a little hint as to what Arne Slot may want here from an incoming Liverpool number 9. Now, this coming from Marca, so again, massive pinch of salt needed. It's coming from Spain. LFC Transfer Room posted a quote from them to say, just in, Barcelona pull out of the race for Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams. Premier League clubs like Arsenal and Liverpool lead the chase for the 22-year-old winger who's eyeing a move abroad. Obviously, Nico Williams scored Bilbao's second goal last night in the victory over Rangers. They're in the semi-finals of the Europa League, where they're taking on Ruben Amorim's Manchester United. The final, of course, being at Bilbao Stadium. I love Nico Williams. I get the feeling if we do move for a wide forward, so if Diaz moves on, I think Anthony Gordon revisiting that situation was probably more likely for a couple of reasons, the homegrown quota being one of them. But I'd absolutely love Nico Williams at Liverpool. Let me know what you guys think, or where you think he ends up. Right, let's move on to Arne Slot speaking about the summer and the summer transfer window. He said, I think at Liverpool, it's always a big summer. By holding on to two, it's already a big summer. Obviously, talking about the Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah contract extensions, and he's not wrong. Let's see what the rest of the summer will bring. It would be strange if I said I'm not happy with the team. I hope he's been a bit pragmatic there, because as fans, we're not going to accept Virgil and Mo being like new signings. That was making up for the stupidity of not signing them quicker for the club. So we're not going to go down that alley of thinking, oh, well, sure, we don't need too much. We do. We can't stand still. We need to have learned our lessons from the last time we won the title. We have to strengthen, we have to improve, and we have to promise that we can go in there and challenge for the major trophies for years to come. Again, speaking about the squad, Arne Slot said, the core of the team you want to keep together for as long as they're performing. But it is also good to bring new energy in with one or two players, but it's not a necessity with the quality of the squad in season. It is, Arne. It absolutely is. I'm not buying this for 1 second that the manager's delighted with the squad. If he was, he'd have played Chiesa, he'd have played Elia, he'd have given Endo more minutes. And again, whatever way we think about it as Liverpool fans, this has been a season where Manchester City and Arsenal have not performed to their best in the Premier League. And we can't get arrogant about this and think that we can just stroll through next season again with a bare minimum amount of summer work. We need a big window, and he needs players that he trusts, or he needs to start learning to trust Chiesa, Elliott, and some of the other Liverpool players. This from Paul Joyce gives me a bit more hope. Paul Joyce writes, Liverpool are in a strong position, having spent a year doing their extensive background work on potential targets and building up financial resources. So again, that kind of language there from Paul Joyce would suggest that Liverpool are going to go strong in this market, particularly the last part about building up financial resources. This one, despite being on the verge of the title, Arne Slot is keen to refresh his side, to take them to the next level. And here's the good part from Paul Joyce, with a long shopping list to help challenge on all fronts. This kind of does make me wonder though. Andy Hunter, Paul Joyce, two Liverpool covering journalists with very different takes on the transfer window. Andy Hunter saying, minor surgery, left back striker, and, could be okay after that. Paul Joyce, long shopping list, financial resources. I know which one I want to believe, but let me know in the comments which one you think is going to come to fruition. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. A reminder, we'll be live tonight at 8:45 for the late night agenda. Hope to see you then. We won't be live after that until Sunday for the game. So if I don't see you tonight, we'll see you on Sunday. And thanks again for watching. Much love. Bye-bye.